Okay, so you take the miraculous first step of acknowledging that you're playing a victim role in your life. And I think it's very important to say it in that way, that you're playing a role, because immediately that puts you into a place of choice and power, because you have a choice. You're playing a role. There's all sorts of roles to be played in life, and you're not only playing the victim role. You could be a doctor or a mother or a cashier or a dancer or, whatever your role is. There's all sorts of roles to play in life. But one of the roles that you're playing in life is the victim role, and you admit it. Because when you say, like, if you just come down on yourself, like, oh, I'm a victim, or I'm being a victim, I'm a victim, that defines you. And it's kind of a way to abuse yourself, by defining yourself like that. Verbal abusers define us all the time by calling us names. And so calling yourself a victim, you're name calling yourself. So, acknowledging that you're playing a role that's like the first step out. You're like, okay, I'm playing this role, but you honor that you have choice in the matter. And that's a beautiful thing. Okay, the victim role. You're insecure, you feel powerless, you feel broken, you feel like everyone walks all over you like a doormat. You don't have any confidence, and trust. Your trust is broken. Your trust in others, your trust in the universe and God, and the life force. You feel like, you're always being, rejected, or you're always being cheated on, or, life just always throws you, rotten fruit, rotten experiences, and you're trusting yourself. And this is where all the change happens, at the core. When you get to the core, once you get into that core, it's like it cracks you open and the light starts to shine out. And as you continue to work on yourself and you continue to expand, that light starts to radiate out. And that is the beautiful journey. And we're all at different phases of the journey. And everybody's journey goes differently, but there are steps along the way that are kind of generic and general, as people go along. And so anyway, trusting yourself. Well, okay. So, as I said in my last episode, I talked about being impeccable with your word. And again, the book, The Four Agreements, is just, I know I've mentioned it a few times in my videos. I always have it around. Like I put it for years. It's traveled in my bag with me when I go out. It goes in and out of my bag, and if it's not there, it's near my desk, so I can. And I'll just randomly open it. Like I have read this so many times now but what's really funny, after all these years of reading this book, the Four Agreements: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't assume anything, and always do your best. Well, and he says, if you do the first agreement, be impeccable with your word, everything else opens up. He said, if you just do that one agreement, like everything else will come together. And I had always, like, when I thought of being impeccable with my word, I always thought of, like honoring my word to someone else, like saying I would, if I'm going to do something, do it. And, if I, just always honoring my word with someone else. But I had never turned that on to myself, about being impeccable with my word to myself. And so in this journey that I've been on, doing this life coaching, which I highly recommend. If you're feeling like you really need help with your life and there's things you want to do and they're not happening, or, whatever, it is amazing to get a life coach, because they help you to fulfill what it is you desire, and their job is to hold you accountable. And if something's not working, where is the resistance? Why are you resisting? And what motivates you when you are succeeding? And why is that happening? And I have learned for myself, I am the queen of baby steps. And I can't focus on things for too long. I can only just, that's just how my brain's working right now. And so, like, I have an online store for my art designs. And that store I mean, it's like, it's got over 50 designs, you know, and they're, you know, I've had to put them on all these different products and this whole thing. And I built my store, my wonderful store, 15-minute increments, 3 days a week. Took me a really long time. I think it might have even taken me like a year or so. I can't remember the timeline, but it took me a while. But you know what? I have a store now. I mean, I got it done. Like, I got my store up, and that's it. That's how much. And then, like, I've been working on my website now, and actually I've been kind of expanding my time on it a little bit. But for like the longest time, I've been working 5 minutes, 3 days a week. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, because I seriously, I can't. It's like the technology, you know, like, just gets to be so much. I just and so anyway, so I just like, and sometimes I'll do things like by time, like 5, 15 minutes, whatever. And sometimes I'll do it by task, like get this task done, get this task done. So it just really depends on the day. And, you know, like I learned, you know, like I said, you know, I was putting my music goals, you know, at the very bottom of my list, and they weren't getting done. And I was just constantly breaking my word to myself. And then I would feel really bad about myself. And of course, perpetuating that feeling of chaos and anger and resentment, and all this was going on. Sort of like a when you first start to experience peace and serenity, it can be a little bit scary because it feels very spacious and kind of open and kind of empty or something. Like there's sort of this, like you feel peaceful, but you're so used to, when you've had an abuse history, it's like being hit over with a hammer over your head every day. Hammer, hammer. And you know, you're so used to that hammering, and it's familiar, and there's like a comfort in it, even though it's kind of sick, you know, it's like there's a comfort in it. And it's almost like some people like to have the TV on when they're like just hanging around the house because it makes them feel like there's company there. It's kind of like that, only, you know, that's what we do. We have to learn how to be peaceful and learn how to not keep creating little dramas in our life so we can keep stimulated. Because sometimes that kind of anxiousness can be stimulating. And sometimes that, you know, that we don't really realize that that's what's going on now. So anyway, but that's what's going on. Okay. So you know, so here I am putting my musical at the very bottom of this, you know, thing. And I realized that is the first thing that I need to do every day. That's the first thing I need to do every day. Put it at the very top of the list and get it done, because that is going to build my confidence. And it's been really interesting because I've done that now, and I've put it at the top of my list after my martial arts practice. I always get up, take care of my cat, get some coffee on, and then I do my martial arts practice. And then after that, have some coffee and start songwriting and, you know, working on my machines. And something I've learned, like I was having this block because I have this new music equipment, and I've been moving into electronica, and it's just so cool. It's like, this has been my life dream. You know, I'm like living my dream right now. But then here I am in this resistant point, right? But what I figured out was to just get out a manual and start learning how to use the machines. It wasn't working for me. And I was like, how am I going to learn the machines, you know? And then I realized, well, songwriting and creating a song, and then, you know, and then finding what I need to do on my machines to make it the way I want it, and doing all that kind of exploring, that motivated me. And so it was the song and the songwriting and having this finished song and be able to perform it. That was the motivator. And once I figured out what motivated me and realized that I was breaking my word to myself every day that I had agreed to do it, now having it at the top of the list, it's amazing. Because in the morning, you know, after I've done my music, it's like, I feel victorious. It's like, it doesn't matter what happens for the rest of my day, because I have done the most important thing for me to do for me. And that's to acknowledge that goal. So, so baby steps, really tiny little steps. Like if you don't have a coach and you're just working with yourself, like just very small successes, you know, like, you know, if you're wanting to, you know, change your diet, have just an extra glass of water a day, or just have an apple a day, you know, just every day have an apple, you know, just add one positive thing, have an apple, and just, but do things very tiny little baby steps so you can build your confidence. And that's what's happened with me with my life coach. And now I'm starting to realize my confidence has really grown, and also my confidence in myself that I can accomplish and get things done. like when I first started to get my store together, I was like, oh my, it just seemed like this huge mountain, and I couldn't see the top. I was like, whoa, I can't climb that mountain. But one step at a time, you will get up that mountain. It may take a while, but you'll get up that mountain. So baby steps, and and being impeccable with your word yourself. And so, but you don't want to use that to knock yourself down. You don't want to set goals that you can't reach. And especially when you're coming out of like this, that really heavy, tumultuous, like abusive, poisonous, toxic, yucky, scary, freaked out world, it's going to take a little time to build. You have to like be gentle with yourself, but consistent. That's the idea of doing things. Just whatever your goal is. You get the idea. So anyway, to build your trust. So that's how you do it. That's how you start getting out of the hole. So happy travels.